guys, what is up? This is your boy B Vision ENT, and today I bring you my review for Boruto, episode 80. The title of the episode was Mitsuki's Friend, and without further ado, let's get into the review. So the episode begins in a flashback in the scene that Mitsuki initially leaves the Hidden Leaf Village. Mitsuki, Kokyo, Seke, and the female artificial human are all talking. They're kind of going over with Mitsuki where they're going, where all the conditions that he needs to go to leave. And basically, they reveal the Akuta and tell him, look, you're going to leave with us regardless if you're leaving on your own will or not. You're leaving with us. Mitsuki kind of refers to him like he knew what they were, so they must have already showed him in that letter that they had given him in previous episodes before the arc really got truly going. One of the big things in this scene that I really picked up on was the fact that Kokyo actually reveals that there are millions of these Akuta, and Mitsuki asks, are you guys going to war? And he sort of says a statement that sort of meant, look, we're willing to go to war no matter what it takes to achieve our goal, which their goal is peace. So it seems like they'll scare everybody into peace. They'll go to war and kill people to achieve the peace. No matter what they have to do, they will do that to achieve their goal, which is ultimately peace. So in the next scene, we have Mitsuki and Seke and Kokyo. They're all together again, and we're back in the present time. Seke is asking Mitsuki a lot of questions and trying to understand humans more. So he's asking Mitsuki all these questions about sleep, dreaming, yawning, and just a lot of questions about just basic human features. Kokyo tells Seke, look, we can't trust him. I think there's something he's hiding from us. And really, before we get into that, Seke actually falls out again and he gets sick. And Kokyo unwraps the tape on his hands and we find out that his fingers are cracked. And this is when it is revealed that these artificial humans are created with the same sort of construction or engineering that created the Akuta. And then we learned earlier that the Akuta have a very brief period of life. So with these Akuta being such fragile creatures, we learned that the artificial humanoids, they are also very fragile, and they also, just like the Akuta, have a really short period of lifespan. So in the next scene, it was probably the most exciting scene in the entire episode. We have the fourth Tsukikage checking on the third Tsukikage, Inoiki, who is still in a hospice type situation, and he is being watched over by a Jonin while he is recovering from his illness that he received during the Five Kage Summit. They were having a brief conversation, really has nothing to do with the episode, more about Inoiki being her grandfather and just general stuff. And as she is leaving, she has a group of Jonin with her, and they are discussing just typical village information, and they are ambushed. They are attacked by two covered up people. One of them has a bloody knife in his hand, and this guy is obviously one of the artificial humans. The other one, the Tsukikage, actually recognizes. She never says his name, but it is later revealed to be Lord Q himself. He was very strong. The Tsukikage could do nothing. She used her jutsu and she couldn't do anything. And this, we're talking about a Kage level shinobi who is being just kind of foddered by this Lord Ku. So I'm very interested to see who this Ku guy is. Is this his natural ability, or is this some sort of artificial ability that he's given himself? So that will all be revealed in later episodes, but that was what this scene really sparked in my mind, is how the heck is this guy this strong, and why didn't we know about him before if he's really this strong? Like, where did he come from? That is more than likely the biggest question of this entire episode, actually. Like, this Q guy is really strong. Shoot, it might take Naruto to beat him, so that's going to be really interesting coming on in the next few episodes. So the remainder of the episode was really taken up by a interaction between Mitsuki and Seke. Seke is not doing well. His body is continuing to diminish right in front of Mitsuki. Kokyo has actually gone off to get help for Seke, leaving Mitsuki behind to look after him, even though he's warned Seke, do not trust him, don't let him leave. Seke is talking with Mitsuki about, still about human interactions and stuff. Mitsuki actually goes and gets Seke some flowers and tells him, here, look at these, they'll make you feel better, they'll keep your mind off of what's actually going on. And this scene was very beautiful. The music in the background, it was a very sad song playing in the background, and we have a sunset going on, which created a orange overtone over the animation. This really draws you in as a viewer, and it just gets you into the moment between Seke and Mitsuki and their bonding. They're talking about eating and teeth brushing and parents, and Mitsuki reveals to Seke that his parent is Orochimaru, and there's just a lot going on in this scene, and it might not be the most exciting scene ever, but the music and the situation and the orange sunset in the background just really draw you in and make this worth watching. Like it was a really deep scene. Another big thing in this scene was Seke asked Mitsuki about crying. He asked him, have you ever cried before? I'm assuming that Seke has never cried, and Mitsuki has never cried either, which is a big reveal. He asked about, would you cry if I die? And Mitsuki really doesn't say anything. He asks, would you cry if Boruto dies? And he actually talks about Boruto being his son in this scene, and it was just really touching and close. The next part of this scene is where it gets sort of frightening, and the tone changes a little bit. It's still a little bit breathtaking and sad, but they bring a little bit of element of fright into it, where Seke demands Mitsuki to tell him a secret because friends keep secrets, and he wraps a detonator clay centipede around Mitsuki's neck and threatens that he will blow his head off if he does not tell him a secret. He tells Mitsuki that he knows that he faked killing the Leaf Shinobi, and he knows that he left a snake behind, and asks why. Mitsuki admits that he left a message for Boruto telling him that leaving was his will and he's doing it on his own, and basically telling Boruto not to come after him. And this is where they really get into Boruto being Mitsuki's son from a distance, and he talks about Boruto always smiling, how he never wants to lose, and he never loses his confidence, but he's always getting scolded for some reason. But he talks about how Boruto's personality is larger than life, and he keeps a big crowd of friends around him because everybody's just attracted to him. Again, he talks about Boruto being his son from far away, which it means a lot to his relationship with Boruto, which I get into the topic of the title of the episode, which was Mitsuki's friend, which at one point I thought that this episode would be about Mitsuki and Boruto, because in the preview they showed the question, would you cry if Boruto died? They didn't even mention that he first asked, would you cry if I died? Which, to me, this means that Seke is trying to become Mitsuki's friend, but Mitsuki is kind of torn because he knows that Seke really wants to be his friend, and I think Seke could be a very, very good friend for Mitsuki if Mitsuki's able to get Seke out of this situation, just because Seke seems like a genuine dude. He seems like somebody that could be trustworthy if he were to come back to the Hidden Leaf and become a shinobi. But Mitsuki was created to be Boruto's friend, and he wonders if his emotions for Boruto were artificial, which is creating a lot of contrast between what Mitsuki thinks is right and what he knows is right, and I think it's really confusing Mitsuki, and that's why I think the title of this episode was perfect, because we don't know which one is going to end up being his friend, and I hope for some reason that they can bring Seke back to the Leaf, they can get him all fixed where he doesn't have to worry about dying so early, and he could become part of the team. But this could also cause a big issue with Boruto and Seke both being sort of the person that Mitsuki is going to gravitate towards. So I don't think that he probably will end up going back to the Leaf because of that reason. It would just cause too much confusion in the writing. of Mitsuki and who his actual friends are. But I really think that the title of this episode was perfect because of the whole episode, really the majority of this episode being about who is Mitsuki's friend. Is it going to be Seke, or will he end up being loyal to Boruto at the end? So in the final scene of the episode, we have Seke getting really, really sick, and he actually passes out. The detonating clay centipede he had around Mitsuki's neck falls apart. It's no good, and we actually get Kokyo, the female artificial human, and the artificial human that was with Q during the Tsukikage attack, all coming back to Seke's aid. They have the medicine for him and they inject it in him, and we start to see some of the cracks on his hands fade away, but he's still knocked out. And they begin to blame Mitsuki for all that's going wrong with Seke, stating that he didn't get sick until you came along. How do we know this isn't something you did? How can we trust you? Mitsuki mentions that, hey, you guys can't kill me because your master is the one who wants you to get me, so you have to bring me back alive. And they basically say, yeah, we can't kill you, but we're going to knock you out and take him. And this is where I get super excited because I'm like, Sage Mode, Sage Mode. Mitsuki's going to do Sage Mode. But no, Seke saves the day. Seke wakes up and he tells them that, look, I trust him. Do not hurt him. He's trustworthy. Just believe me. And they end up having Mitsuki carry Seke, and they go to Fu. That's where I believe they're headed, is to meet Lord Fu. In the final moments of the scene, we see that the Tsukikage is still alive. She doesn't look like she was hurt that well. It looks like she was taken in to some sort of jail cell in a cave. And we have Q watching like hundreds of these Akuta spawn up from the ground. And he's smiling. He has a sinister smile on his face. And as we see the Tsukikage in the cell looking defeated, we move to the forest, and we have Team 7 and Team 10, I believe, the Ino Shikisho trio. And Boruto's knocked out, and that's all we really get in the episode. Boruto's unconscious. They're all surrounding him, and they're worried, talking about we should go back to the Leaf. And I don't know. This is where it ends. So the way the episode ended, you can kind of tell that we have Shikadai, Inojin, and Chocho and Sarada are going to go off, and they're going to try to get Mitsuki. Boruto, he's knocked out, so I don't know what's going to happen with him. I'm pretty sure one of them or two of them are going to stand back and stay with Boruto, but we're going to have some of these Genin from the Leaf go to the Hidden Stone and go after Mitsuki, which could be a good or a bad thing. We'll have to see in the next episode. Overall, I believe this episode, it wasn't the greatest episode. There really wasn't any action, but the emotions they brought in and just the information that was revealed, it was worth watching. So overall, I give this episode a 7. And it wasn't a bad episode. I just don't think it was worthy of anything higher than a 7. Just an episode packed full of information. There was some emotion in it, but it was more just an informative episode, and you gotta watch it. So yeah, there we go, a 7. It's a C. It's a good episode. What do you guys think about the episode? Did you like it? Did you think it could have been better? Just drop a comment below. Tell me what you thought about it. Tell me what you thought about my review. Hey, I'm open to anything, so let me know what you thought. This is your boy, B Vision ENT, and I am signing out.